to cloud. Right, it's definitely being recorded. I've just double checked, okay? So yes, this is being recorded. So let's have a little think about in terms of, okay, you've got to interview stage, and let's look at it from a completely different perspective. So what we tend to do is we think of it from, in some senses, from your perspective. And from your perspective, you've done a lot of preparation for the interview. You've probably been online, checked them all out in terms of, you know, what the company's about, what their mission statement is, what their objectives are. I would assume that you've done a lot of preparation. The sad truth is, though, for a lot of companies, regardless of size, they're not brilliant at interviews. And sometimes, you know, I've got to be honest with you, they might not have done very little preparation. Now, obviously, the higher the role that it is, we're hoping that they've done that. But we've got to also take it from their point of view. Their point of view is that they're not doing this on a day-to-day basis. This is an add-on to their role. And I think this is how you've got to approach these things. If it's an add-on to their role, the likelihood is that they might have, in some senses, glanced at your application, glanced at your CV or resume, and at that point in time, whether it was 2 weeks ago, they probably said to themselves, that was great, yeah? So what I'm trying to say to you is, just because they might have checked things out and you've done a lot of work, what I'm trying to say is that necessary that they've done the same preparation. So I always advise people, if they're going for an interview, go in assuming that they know nothing about you, zero. Okay, so that's kind of tip number one. Regardless if you think, oh my God, I've mentioned this in my resume, I've mentioned it in my CV, I've mentioned it in my application form, you do need to be going in and kind of assuming that they've not heard of you. So you've got to have that kind of in your mind. Now, if you've got to this stage, I am going to say another thing as well. Congratulations is the first thing. But the other thing is that you've already got past one hurdle. That hurdle is the fact that they think that you've got the necessary qualifications. They believe that you can do that job. What they're trying to work out in some senses is if you're a good fit. Okay, so there's two different things here. Are you a good fit? That's what they're looking for. Are you a good fit for their role, their organization, the culture, how they work? And that's really important, okay? So what I'm saying to you is, you don't really need to worry about the qualification side. That's been kind of ticked if you've got that stage. But now what you need to be kind of emphasizing across is why you are a good fit for that team. And I think that's basically the key thing. The other thing that you need to be coming across as, which many people don't, and this is really interesting, is that you need to be coming across as very professional. And I know that you feel that you are, but trust me, if you want to influence an interviewer before you even walk into their office, yeah, and this is a great tip to actually implement, then you need to be making sure that they know you exist before that interview. And I know you're going to say, okay, well, they know you exist because they've chosen me for interview. But again, they're busy, it's an add-on job, everything else. So what I'm saying to you is that you ultimately need to be thinking about, well, okay, I've received a letter from that employer. I know whom I'm likely to be interviewing me because it's either in a letter or an email. What I'm trying to say to you is you definitely need to be checking them out on LinkedIn. However, I'm going to give you a great exception why, one reason why you shouldn't do this. And the reason why you want to check them out on LinkedIn is, for one reason, you want to be giving them a great impression of who you are. And you can either, it's really up to you. It's kind of, you know, obviously interviews could vary. They could be an informal interview, it could be a formal interview. And it's really up to you. But what I'm trying to say to you is that you've got two options. You want them to make sure that that you are visible. So when they look at who's checked my, you know, who's viewed my LinkedIn profile, you want to be making sure that your profile is visible. Okay, so some profiles can't be blocked off. So firstly, make sure that it is visible to them. Secondly, you could It depends on, obviously it's a gut feeling, but you could connect with that person. And that's your gut instinct, whether you think that's a good idea or not. So one of the things that you could do is, hi, name the person, thought it would be good to connect with you, or thought it would be good for us to connect, best wishes, and your name. And all we're trying to do is showcase them why you are good before that interview. Now, the reason why this is going to fail, and it will incredibly fail for so many people, is because you haven't got a good LinkedIn profile. Yeah? Think about what I'm saying for a minute, okay? Really think about what I'm trying to say to you. Right, the only way an employer or a hiring manager can evaluate you is based on two things normally. Your resume, which has obviously done a good bit of work, okay? It's got you to that interview stage, it's got you in front of the hiring manager. But now what we're trying to do is give them some added information to kind of prepare them for, hey, look, I'm going to be coming in. Okay, I am going to take questions. I am going to take questions. Is there a problem? Just 1 second. The host, yeah, I'm taking questions at the end of the session, okay? I'm not going to be taking sessions now. So if you want to type in the box, by all means do that, but it is completely muted. It wouldn't work otherwise. Okay, so let me just go back to what I was just about to say. If you want to give an impression of who you are and what you do, unless you've actually built your brand, the only way that they actually know who you are is through your LinkedIn profile and through the resume or the CV that you've completed. What I'm saying to you is make sure that you utilize that ability to connect with that person, and you will have a name. You will have a name from that email of who that's likely to be. So go and do your research, and you should be doing this anyway. This is good due diligence. You should be Googling your interviewer, and they should be able to see that you've done this. What I'm basically saying to you, okay, is that most of you have got, and without trying to be rude, but most people have got average profiles. Yeah, so average to me is something where you are just like saying to me, you know, I'm a great team player, I can motivate a great team, I've done X, Y, and Z, and you present your shopping list. To me, that kind of sounds like Stepford Wives. Okay, you're all the same, you all copy the same kind of format. So it's really important to get companies interested in you before you even walk through the door, is to try and create some wow factor. There's a fly that's flying across every second. But what you should be trying to do is try and create a wow factor. So if your LinkedIn profile doesn't go, wow, I need to be kind of making contact with, you know, you, okay? It's failing. That's what I'm basically trying to say to you. So you definitely need to have that wow factor. It needs to be showing your USP, and that is, you know, the company, you only get hired for one reason, and I keep on saying this, and I'm going to keep on saying it. You get hired for one reason. The company has a problem, and they hope that you're the solution to that problem. So that's where I help people to kind of work out that USP to be able to do that. So if you want to kind of present yourself in a good way, it is really worthwhile, you know, either doing it professionally, doing it yourself, but doing it from that point of view, okay? Because average doesn't work. Average just shows what everybody else is doing. Now, we could, if somebody's brave enough, okay, not somebody that I've worked with though, because I know your profile's good, but if I haven't worked with you, what I'm going to suggest to you, so if you fancy doing this, why don't you type in the chat box your LinkedIn profile, your URL to your LinkedIn profile, and we could do a little bit of a session here, and I could critique it if you want, if you're brave enough. Maybe you're not. But is there anyone brave that would like me to critique their LinkedIn profile while we speak? Okay, I don't seem to be having many people fancy doing this. I wonder why. Okay. So if you're not willing to do this, 1 second. Okay, some people are willing to. Okay, you're providing me with your names. Okay, I'm going to go for Brian. I don't know let's have a little look, and we will try and get on LinkedIn, and we will try and find you. Okay, and obviously I've not prepped for this, so this should be interesting. Okay, so let's have a little look. Okay, great profile. I like your picture. Okay, right. Okay, let's have a little look at this. So I can see that you're in premium. So I can see that you are looking for a job, okay? Looking to make a career move to Phoenix, solutions orientated, opportunity to take my past, gender and creating. Okay. Okay, one of the things that appears straight away when I look at your profile is that there's a lot of information there, okay? And as it's online, that's a bit of a problem, okay? Because what that means is that, you know, we can't print it out, we can't read it from a book. So I need to be kind of looking at your profile to be able to kind of, you know, digest this. Because there's a lot of text, it's actually going to put me off potentially to carry on reading. To me, the most important part of your profile is this bit. It's also a great picture. Potentially even maybe the tagline as well. The other thing that you might want to do when this goes to everybody is that you might actually want to have a way to connect as well, okay? So you need to understand that LinkedIn makes it incredibly difficult for people to connect with others. So sometimes I actually recognize that you could actually copy that name here and put it underneath in the tagline. This is the tagline. But okay, so you work for IT. So again, what you've kind of done is you've done, in some senses, a little bit different from others, but you've told me what you've done, okay? And I think what I'm trying to say is let's work out what your USP is. Let's make it where you go, wow, you know, look at me, you should be hiring me, and that's what should be coming up. So, okay, so there's two things that I want to show you here, slightly off tangent, but a good profile is two things. It should be looking the part. It should clearly articulate your USP, your unique selling points, but it also should do this great thing, okay? It should be generating profile views. So if you look at my profile, okay, you will see the fact that I've had, you know, a great number of profile views. And it's not just any profile views. I'm only interested in people that need me. So what I'm trying to say to you is that you ultimately need to start treating LinkedIn as a database. So as I mentioned on the last kind of webinar, and I will keep on mentioning this because it's so important, you've got to be visible. You've got to be seen. So if you want to get to even that stage of hired, you know, to be hired, people know that people have got to know that you are basically there. So if you can see, there's 2,777 people that have viewed me in the last 90 days. A great tip that you need to be doing is actually doing the same thing. So let's have another look at, and by the way, that's not easy to do. So if you want me to help you to do that, that is exactly why I'm here. So let's look at Andre and see if we can help Andre with his profile. Let's see if I can find him. 1 second. Okay. Okay, can you just confirm, have I got the right person for this? Yeah? No, this is not the right. Okay. Okay. Oh, right. That makes it a lot easier when you do that for me. Okay, provide me with the link. That makes it a lot easier. Andre, I remember you. Okay, we have spoke. Okay, so again, you've got no summary profile. Again, it's a little bit generic, and you know that I'm going to say that because I've said that to you before. So what I'm trying to say to you, the summary profile is absolutely key. The reason why most people don't do the summary profile is because it's the most complicated part of the whole LinkedIn profile. But that's where, you know, you kind of need to do it. But again, a good LinkedIn profile should be doing two things. The two things are, it should look the part, and it also, if you look at my profile here, okay, you will see, look at this, there's already 18 people that have wanted to connect with me, and that is in not many days. Okay, so all I'm trying to say to you, this is probably yesterday and today. So a good profile should be generating interest. It should get people interested in who you are and what you do. The point of this topic that I'm trying to kind of emphasize is not so much about, yeah, I can review it, LinkedIn profiles, but what I'm trying to say to you is that they tend to be bland, they tend to be dull, they tend to be not so great. A LinkedIn profile should do two things. It should look the part, it should be generating a number of invitations with key people, and that's the point that I'm trying to say to you, that want your service. And finally, it should be generating those types of conversations, okay? And that's what I'm trying to say to you. That's what I'm getting all of the time. And that's what kind of what I can do for you. So that's part of that stage where you can influence the interviewer before you even get into the office. Okay, so the next thing, and this is kind of the final thing that I kind of, you know, wanted to discuss with you, which is how do you get remembered? Yeah, because the problem is when you get to interview stage, let's be frank, the interview decision is not likely to happen on that day. Yeah, and so how do you keep that kind of, how do you be remembered in a positive way? And that's what I'm going to kind of share with you now. So what I try and do with clients that I work with is I basically say to you, you really and truly need to be kind of using something like the interview success kit, okay? The interview success kit is fantastic. And in some senses, it is, I'm not going to deny it, it's kind of like a PR stunt, but it's a great PR stunt. So let me show you, rather than like, sometimes it's easier for me to show you what that looks like. So this is the interview success kit, and this is the first one that I'm going to show you. And, you know, obviously you can use mine, you can use anybody's. This is what not that I've designed it, I've got a graphic designer to do it. But this is what you should be looking at. This is what you should be doing to stand out. So most people, what they try and do is they will go, okay, I'll send you a little thank you card. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that or a thank you message, but really and truly, let's get back to basics. The company's got a problem. They see you as the solution. Let's focus on that. Okay, so what I can offer you from day one is great for one reason if you can prepare this document, because it actually helps you, okay, for interview as well. And what you should be doing is that you should be taking this document with you, and you should have more than one copy. You should have numerous copies, because you never know how many people that you're going to be seeing or is going to be on that interview on that day. So you need one copy for yourself, and you need various other copies for other people. The idea is that you are leaving that copy with that person. And I'm going to even teach you a trick now to be able to even give this document out, even if you feel that they don't ask that question. Okay, so this is going to be quite useful. So tip number one, this document, again, what I try and do with anything that I do with clients is I try and make sure that we're leveraging different things. So on this document, though you can't particularly see it, it does come with a blueprint. But what it does do is it diverts people again back to your LinkedIn profile. It provides them with 5 key points of why they should hire you. It's a great document to utilize, and it can be kind of reused time and time again, okay? And that's actually included in the Be the One at interview. So let's show you how this can be used. You will basically need to prepare this document, because if you cannot answer this question, you should not be going to interview. So this is a great way to prepare for interview. And if you feel that they don't ask that question, don't worry about it, because we're still going to get it in there some way, somehow. Because you and I both know they're going to ask you one question. And that lovely question is going to be at the end of that interview, and they're going to say to you, have you got any questions for us? And I'm sure that you might have questions, but you are going to say for one of those things, you're going to say, well, this is not a question as such, but I do feel that I am the right candidate for this role. And I want to clearly show you why. I've actually done some homework, and then you hand them a copy each. You keep your own copy because you're going to read possibly the top 3 of those points out. You're going to say, okay, I'm not going to go through the whole 5 points, but I'd like to emphasize the top 3 with you. And you want to basically encourage them to keep that copy with them. An absolutely fantastic document that you can actually use. Okay, another tip, particularly if it gets to second interview. Okay, so if it gets to second interview, this is a great document that you can also use, which is called the 30-day plan. And again, nobody, and repeat after me, nobody does these things. It's very rare that you see somebody does this. And actually, I'm going to show you 2 different quotes from 2 different clients that I've worked with that have used these things in the past. So this is a great document to use once you've got to second interview. And the reason why is that hopefully you've done your homework and you've listened to what they're looking for. So from that first interview, you've probably got a better idea of what they need. And from there, it's not too complicated. It is a very simplistic document. It's in Microsoft Word, but what you're basically doing is you are identifying, okay, what are the things that I'm going to be doing in the next 30 days? So it's identifying maybe your key stakeholders that you need to be liaising with. It's your 5 top actions. And then you set basically objectives below. And again, you know, if they don't ask this question, it's not a problem. So if they don't say to you, if we hired you today, what would you do in the next 30 days? They don't ask that question, which they might not do. Some might, okay, some might do. But if they don't ask that question, very simple, you can utilize this at the end of the interview. And you just want to say, I still feel that I am the correct candidate for this role. I've actually done some preparation for this, and I've worked out what are my key tasks for the next 30 days. I would love to maybe focus on the 5 top priorities that I think this would be. Obviously, you know, this would be something that we would discuss further if I did actually get that role. So again, when candidates have done this, they have come across as incredibly professional. They've come across as very prepared, and the higher the level of role that you're going for, this is the type of thing that you need to be showcasing and making it incredibly clear that you are the right candidate. Okay, remember what I said to you at the very start of this session. I said to you, most candidates will prepare very well for interview. The problem lies with the kind of the hiring manager. They sometimes just don't have the time to do the effort and the preparation that you have. So what I said to you at the very start, always go into an interview assuming, assuming they know absolutely nothing about you. It is your job to basically sell yourself within that time frame and to get that across. And this is a great way to do this. It's a great way to be remembered. And let's make it clear why I mean this. So what happens, or what should happen, when they're discussing the candidates that have come in, and we're talking maybe a month later, what we want them to go is, I remember Joe. He was the one that left us that document, the 30-day plan. Yeah, he was really good. Yeah, he definitely needs to be shortlisted. What we don't want to happen is, sorry, who was Joe again? He was the 3rd candidate. No, I'm not. No, I can't picture him. What did he look like again? That is not what we want to happen. So it's really your job to be making sure that you sell yourself at that particular time. So I want to show you some kind of clients that have actually utilised this. It's actually on my website, funny enough, which is, where is this actually? I think it could have been on my consultation form actually. Let's have a little look. Okay, because there was one client that, well, there's many clients, but this is one example. Let's have a little look when it loads this page. I'm sure it's on here. It's still loading. Okay, so let's have a little think. Okay, it does take a long time. Okay, don't take my word for it, what my clients said. So it is on this page, but it just hasn't loaded yet. Okay, so you can actually read this in your own time, but all I'm trying to say to you is that the way that I work with a client is literally through this. I work out your USP. I help you build that in mind. If you want to always get companies chasing you, and this is another thing that you need to be thinking about, once you get hired, how are you going to change the process around where you're never in this situation again? Because if you've been doing this, I believe that it's probably not the easiest thing trying to find a job. In fact, I know it's not. So what I'm trying to say to you is if you want to end where you want those people to come and find you, then you need to change the whole process of what you're doing. So once you've got the job, most people make this mistake. That is, you're good within the four walls of that company. That's great, okay? But the problem lies is when you want to move again. The problem lies is when you get made redundant. The problem lies is that you're putting all the ownership with the company and not with you. So if you ultimately want to change this process around and you want to get companies chasing you, of course I can help you get, really create a great interview process. But really what you kind of need to be thinking about is ultimately that long-term goal, because, it does get a little bit frustrating. But, this is how I work with clients. We literally go through this, how you add value to a company, what is your USP, why does that matter, and why does it matter from that company's perspective. Even when this, this guy, gave me a great, absolutely fantastic, endorsement here, but he'd actually used this at interview and he was dubious. This was the interview success kit and he was dubious and he's going, sure? And I'm going, yeah. But he said it's really simple in some senses, but nobody was doing this. And basically the point that happened is that he did get hired, he came across as professional, and that is exactly, what I can do for you. Okay, what I also failed to mention, which is incredibly important when you do go for interview, is that yes, treat yourself as a business, but don't give everything away. Okay, so don't tell them what they need to do without them actually hiring you. Okay, and in some senses, that's what I've done today. Okay, so yeah. But I am a business, and that's ultimately what you're needing to kind of see yourself as one, okay? It's a really good tip. A lot of companies will utilize your knowledge, your skill set, take it away and implement it themselves. That's all well and good, but what we're trying to do is get you ultimately hired. So make sure that you're not giving everything away, okay? So as you may know, and I am a business, no shock there. There is the early bird offer, which is ending pretty soon, which is actually on Saturday. If you want to come and join me for this, this is a one-to-one personalized session with me. I know somebody on this call is actually, I think I'm working with you very shortly afterwards. We're going to be doing that one-to-one interview practice. You can make as many mistakes as you like because it is informal and it is designed for you to make mistakes. So when you actually go to that interview, you are a pro. So I don't want you to worry about doing stuff like this with me because that's the purpose of it. It's a mock interview. Okay, I will actually help you to show one question that you need to ultimately answer or ask in that interview that will change the whole process around, okay, where you will have that power, that leverage. You've got to understand, you've got to start seeing yourself in some senses like a salesperson. I know that most people won't like the idea of this, but ultimately that's what you're doing. You are selling yourself and you need to start recognizing that. So just as a salesperson might have a natural knack at this, I promise you one thing, they will be getting a lot of training in this area. So if you want to kind of change the process of interviews where you get hired each and every time, this is the way to go about it. So you practice. It's really important. How do you articulate those answers? How do you structure those answers? That's what I can help you to do. I can help you to kind of ask that killer question. I will, as I've already done, showed you how to be remembered. Okay, I've done that, but the interview success kit comes as part of that package. That includes the 30-day plan. It also includes what I can offer your company from day one. I'm going to help you to articulate those success stories and why they matter. I'm going to show you again how you can excel at second interview. And finally, which is really good, is even when you get the job, and this is so important for you to understand, you're still a question mark. Okay, so when I say you're a question mark, what that means is they still have those doubts. They still have doubts as, have we actually employed the right person? So what I can actually help you to do, which I think is very good, is squash those doubts for you in the first week, okay? And I will help you to make sure they've got that faith in you from the start. Now, on top of that, when I've asked questions in terms of, okay, what is it that you want to see? Things that came across from you was you wanted to be able to negotiate a higher level starting salary. So it also includes that as well. And also the session is fully recorded too. Okay, so the early bird offer, it ends on Saturday. You've probably got a lot of emails already, so I'm just letting you know, and I am going to be doing these sessions, up until probably December. So you can kind of book, pay now, and we can book in until December. This package will go up after the early bird has ended, okay? So I'm going to start taking questions, and feel free to type them in the box, okay, if you can for me. I'm going to have a little look at what you've tried to do already, but yeah, let's have a little look, okay? So if you've got any questions that you would like to ask, feel free to type it in the chat box and I will try and answer those questions for you. Okay, at the moment, give it a couple. Okay, have you ever done hire Hugh? No, I'm sorry, but maybe I need to check it out. It's a digital interview. Okay, I will have a little look at it. No, I've not. I'm going to be completely honest. I've not heard of it. Okay, so I will go and check that out and do my own due diligence. Okay, okay, looks like yeah, I do sessions with people. Okay, the first question that somebody's just asked is this a complimentary first session? Actually, no, I'm doing sessions, live sessions I know it's on a Tuesday today, but I'm going to be doing these every Thursday. They're completely free. There's no sign-ups. Go and tell anybody that you like, that you think is going to be relevant, and the topics change, okay? So if that's what you're saying, you can always join these live streams. Today, it's on a Tuesday because I'm flying back to the UK and I wasn't able to do it, but I'd agreed that I would do this each week. So I am keeping my promise there. Am I familiar with the corporate wellness field? People ask me this, okay, they will ask me, are you familiar with different sectors? And I'm going to say to you, obviously I'm familiar with more sectors than others, but it doesn't really matter if we can figure out what it is that they want, okay? So I'm very good at helping people to work out, what will that matter to a company? I'm very good at getting to that heart of that matter, okay? The docs you mentioned during the talk, what I can offer your copy. Okay, the talks, so somebody just asked about the documents that I was talking about. If you want to go to my website, which is the LinkedIn Success Academy, so I'm just going to show you where, this is my website so you can have a little look at it. If you go to the shop page, just making you fully aware though, okay, you've got two options. You can get those documents, what I've just been talking about, you can get them here, okay, the interview toolkit, and you can buy them there. But if you wanted to go and do a VIP session with me, that is that one-to-one session, which is called Be the One at Interview, they are included in that package. So those documents, I think they're valued at UK price at £40. And you can get those documents as part of that package, okay? In that package, I forgot to also say, so you get these, there you go, interview success, worth £40. They also come with a blueprint, which is brilliant. So it tells you, okay, this is how you should be setting it out. But if you go and do this package, I will actually review the documents for you as well. So that's part of the main event, the after party. So go and check out that. Okay, so there's 3 days left. Is there any other questions? Okay. Okay, found it useful. That is fantastic. If this is your first time to, you heard about me, by all means, come and check out my website. It's the LinkedIn Success Academy. You can actually, this might be useful to some people, you can actually download my book, which is called Get Companies Chasing You. The reason why you may want to do that is because it's free, or you can go and buy it on Amazon, but I think it's a no-brainer choice of what you might want to do. I hope it's been useful, and if you, means, connect with me on LinkedIn as well. It's Susan Burke, so please feel free to do that. And if you've got any, I'm going to be doing these on a weekly basis, so if there's anything in particular that you would like me to look at, just send, a message to me, okay? So just got a lovely message, very helpful. Going to check out my website and maybe work with me soon. That is really nice. Okay, so it has been a pleasure, and thank you so much. And I will see you all next Thursday if you're around. Okay, take care. Bye.